Hi, what's up? It's Ben. Thanks for tuning in. Just so I give some updates, I'll make this brief. I was reading about how we're potentially headed towards a recession, according to this economist named Mark Zandi. He said that oil punched in on Monday. He said oil punched in at $4.34 per gallon, which if we reach $5 a gallon, that could trigger a recession where we have the consumers pulling back spending, and when no one's spending, you know, and also the economy only grew 1.6% this quarter, which is not very good. He's been in this big beautiful bullshit bill that he passed was supposed to like kick in all these awesome economic gains, and like it's been I don't think it's been all nearly a year since that got passed, but it's been a while. It should have some effect, and it's not affecting shit. If anything, it probably has hurt the economy. And like, if he actually did his research, he would know that like spending, like cutting taxes while increasing the military budget. That's what happened. That's what happened in the 2008 housing crisis. Remember when Bush was in office, when 9/11 happened. You know, he got us into two wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. We spent trillions of dollars on these wars while he gave tax cuts to people. So it increased our debt, and and he also was he deregulated banks and made it so that they could lend money to people without having like proper credit. And I think there needs to be I think there needs to be regulations on this, in the sense that like consumers like should have a pathway to buy a house without having to get into too much debt. So I think also we need to have housing as a right, so that we don't have to have all this speculation control the price of housing, like not allow all these corporations to buy up these houses and rent them out in perpetuity, but like now we're in a like an area where we're gonna have a recession where we might be back to the same situation we were in 2008, and it was all fucking because of Republicans and their tax cuts and their military interventionist fucking fetish. It's all about like it's all about America's the best. America deserves everything. America manifests destiny, and it's like I don't think things like are that simple, like other countries have like their problems and stuff like that, but I feel like when it comes to the Republican Party, they just want to fucking like make it seem that like America is heaven, literal heaven on earth, and it's like it's not like, could you imagine homeless people in heaven? Could you imagine homeless veterans in heaven? Could you imagine people people like the sick getting turned away in heaven? There's gonna be, in my opinion, I don't think there's gonna be any sick people in heaven, but I think my point still stands that it's like our country is far from heaven, far from a utopia, and there's so much we could learn from other countries and how they do things. And we have a president that refuses to learn, refuses to grasp things, and just simply refuses to listen to expert advice. it's really hurting our country in major ways, and now we're potentially going to have to suffer all this economic damage because of his massive stupidity, from his massive fucking like dementia riddled brain, you know? And he does have dementia. Are you kidding me? Like, you can't keep his, train of thought. I mean, I'm not the most perfect speaker, don't get me wrong, but, I don't want to be president. I'm just someone yapping on the internet. And, I just, I just feel like so many people that are in MAGA refuse to accept basic reality. Trickle down economics doesn't work. It just doesn't work. We've been trying it since Reagan, and guess what? Like, wealth has not trickled down. It hasn't trickled down. There's no evidence to back that up. And deregulation doesn't work. It doesn't help because, consumers need protections when it comes to clean water, clean air, clean energy. Like, all this stuff like, fracking and emitting harmful chemicals like glyphosate into the atmosphere doesn't help us. It just doesn't. And the fact that, like, you want to pretend like it does, it just shows you, like, you don't actually know anything, But anyways, I hope we can get through this and impeach this motherfucker. Anyways, if you like this content, subscribe. Costs you nothing. But anyways, have a good rest of your day. Bye.